Hi, my name's Barbara Appleby and I live in Devon with my family. I'm a psychotherapeutic counsellor and clinical supervisor. I have my own private practice in East Devon. I volunteer as a therapist and I supervise the wellbeing practitioners and the support workers. I also run a group called Q Spirit, which is a spirituality support group where anyone who identifies as belonging to the LGBT community can come and talk about spirituality and what that looks like to them. Not a particular faith, but made up of lots of different things. And the reason for thinking about starting up this group was my work with LGBT clients, which is an area that I specialise in my private practice. That it was identified as being an area where there were lots of hurt, either with different faith groups, Christian faith groups primarily, where LGBT individuals were finding that they have a faith, but if they wanted to go to a Christian organisation, they found it quite difficult, or they may have grown up in a church environment and had come up against quite a lot of feelings of guilt and hatred that they didn't fit, or what the Bible was suggesting, and so didn't feel that they had a place to go. So listening to my clients' stories and my own personal journey, feeling that you don't fit or you can't express yourself in a spiritual way because you feel shame, felt really important to have this group. And we are a group of about 4 or 5, and people bring different things. They might want to look at resources, they might want to suggest a conference or getting away somewhere, well-being weekend, or time out with nature. However you get in touch with your spiritual side, we explore really good ideas about doing that. Books, films, documentaries, can be anything, poetry, paintings. It's not just narrowed down to a Christian faith or any particular faith. It's however you find that you get in contact with your spiritual self. And for some who've come, it's been a lifeline, that they've had such bad experiences within a faith setting that they had come to the end of their understanding, or just come to the end of themselves and didn't know where else to go. And so having this group, we meet once a month, it gave them a place to come and feel accepted, in a non-judgmental environment. And at the moment, with these groups not happening, it can often feel even more isolating, that there isn't anywhere to go. If it's a group faith setting, or a group like mine, we're not meeting in person, that can feel even more isolating. And what do I do, and where do I go, and how do I keep in contact with my spiritual self? And one thing that I know I do actually attend a church in the vicinity, and we're meeting via YouTube service online. Wasn't my first, didn't think, goody, let's meet online. I do like to meet in person, but it's still a way of communicating with people, and that's just lovely. And there are some Facebook groups out there still posting things and supporting each other. And I know of one, I think it's Christians in the Southwest. It's on Facebook. And if you would like to know more about the spirituality group that I run, you can contact me through my webpage, which is Bright Futures Counselling, which you can see on It's All About You directory, and my contact email and phone number are there. So it's really great to spend time to listen to people's experiences of different spiritual experiences, and it's been such a positive experience having this group, meeting that need for people, but also alongside that comes a need for me, I feel, to, as a therapist, to get together training around spiritual abuse. I don't think it's something that is widely known, and it's something that we don't really talk about. And what does spiritual abuse look like? And have I been spiritually abused? And what does that mean? And basically it just means when people use their power and authority and use in a Christian setting, so they would use God and the Bible in that imbalanced, unbalanced power, that they can manipulate you or make you feel shame, and so bringing God and the Bible and things like that into conversation. So that's basically what spiritual abuse looks like, and so that feels really important to be able to offer that in the therapeutic world, to have more understanding that that actually goes on. It has been going on for a long time, and it still goes on now, where some members of the LGBT community find themselves in a faith setting, and the leadership team there offering that they can have their identity, whatever that looks like, prayed off them, or they're not fulfilling God's plan for them, things like that. And that's an awful thing to say to somebody and to imply. So we must, as a society and as a body of therapists, and just in general, our community, just understand that this is wrong, and that nobody has the right to make you feel like this. So spiritually, being able to go out in our daily life at the moment, being able to spend time with nature, spending time in the woods, spending time at the seafront, just looking, just hearing the birds. So taking that advantage of going outside and seeing things that we don't usually see, or we take for granted, and hearing things that we don't usually hear because of all the busyness of life. And if going outside is not your thing, then engaging in what you've got, whether you're creative and drawing things or colouring things, or looking at books again, or looking at images on the internet to do with nature, to do with colour, to do with food, whatever it is that really gets you, listening to music, just listening to music in that real stillness, and engaging in all of our senses in the spiritual way that really connects our spiritual side to the world around us, and getting to know ourselves, spending time with ourselves. That might sound really scary. So reflecting and processing and really enjoying spending time with ourselves. And if we're fortunate enough to have pets, spending time with them, and even talking to them and telling them our woes and our disappointments and our anguish and our sadness and our hopes and our fears and our worries, using the pets that we have to help us to process stuff. So spirituality doesn't have to be about going to a particular faith setting. It's a part of ourselves, that we tend to forget sometimes. And I wonder, it might be watching a film on the television that really speaks to us, or a documentary, or news, or it's getting in contact with our spiritual selves, that emotional self, our rational self, questioning, pondering. And one thing that I've seen change over the years of offering therapy to the LGBT community, and to be privileged enough to speak at prides around spiritual things, is that people with a faith are now questioning what they believe. Why do I believe that? Who's told me that? What do I actually feel? What does that say about me? What does that say about my identity? Is there something that I'm burying deep because of shame and guilt and hatred? So what is it? So thinking about what it is that makes us feel or think or judge other people, and examining ourselves. And I've seen a shift in that, and I've seen a shift in people within church settings especially, really opening up their mind and their spirit to other people, to difference, because that's what belonging in the LGBT community is. It's difference. That's it. It's just a different way of doing something. And I think people are becoming less judgmental, although slowly, but I think they're becoming less judgmental and really questioning themselves. And that's what I say to people at the church that I attend, when they ask me about my work within the LGBT community and about my own identity, and I say, but it's not for me to change someone else, because I don't understand what that person, how they live their lives, or what makes up their identity. It's not for me to ask that person to change. It's for me to change what I feel and what I think, and to examine myself. And if I don't agree with somebody, or I don't understand something, that's for me to work that out. It's not for the other person to change their identity, because that wouldn't be right. So I have seen a lot of change, and so that's all I wanted to talk to you about as far as spirituality goes. If you've got any questions, or you want to ask me, talk to me about anything, you can, like I say, find me on the It's All About You directory, or you can look up Bright Futures Counselling, and my contact details are there. So thank you for listening. It's been great to talk to you about this this subject. Thanks. Bye.